Hi,
Hey, Jojo.
I'm loving your background. I feel like
Thank
it's
you.
totally in keeping with this movie.
Thank you. I love your background too. It's nice and clean and simple. Love it, love it, love it. I love the movie. I love the way that there's those two storylines interweaving, and it reminds me of two different movies that I saw a long time ago. It's like a mix of Backstreet mixed with Message in a Bottle. Are you familiar with Backstreet?
I'm not familiar with Backstreet, but I know Message in a Bottle. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Backstreet is an old movie with Susan Hayward. Check it out. You'll see exactly
Okay.
what I mean, except in your book, it's flip flopped. The premise is flip flopped. But
Okay.
let's just talk about that for a second. What inspired this story? Because I love the fact that you have like this romantic comedy happening over here, and then like this torrid marital, extramarital affair happening on the other side.
Well, I'm going to be honest and say it's because I'm really nosy that I got this story. Because I was eavesdropping in a bar on a bunch of women who were trying to decipher a text message from a guy. And you know how it is. You're like, what are they saying? And it turns out that all that was on this text message was later X. And these girls must have picked it apart for like half an hour. And it got me thinking about communication. Like, we live in this age of communication, and yet anybody who is single will tell you the WhatsApps, the emojis, the emails, the text messages, the booty calls, nothing is clear anymore. Like, does he like me? Does he not like me? Should the later have been later this week, later next month? Should it have had a big X? Should it have a small X? And I got to thinking about how my mom's generation, how my grandmother's generation, if a guy liked you, or if you liked a guy, you would turn up at their house, you would call, or you would write a letter. And you cannot doubt, if someone takes the trouble to write a letter, that means they like you. No one's going to waste half an hour on a stamp,
Right?
a trip to the mailbox, if they're not 100% keen. And so I thought it was really interesting that we have all this choice now. Women are supposedly so liberated, and we have all these options. And yet, are we happier? I don't know. I don't know.
I love that. It started from you being nosy. I love the fact that you were like, yeah, it started from me just being nosy.
Yeah.
What was the impetus in the book for using? Because I think maybe once you see them use their names at the end of the letter and then it switches to the initials. Is that from the text message that you saw too?
No, that was just because I just love the idea of them having names for each other. And Boot, Anthony's Boot, is basically it's a joke play on the book Scoop by Evelyn Waugh. And I just thought I love the fact that she, if when you meet her and she has no memory of this man, how on earth are you going to work out who B is? It's impossible. So I just added to the mystery.
I'm glad that you said it in the 60s, but why the 60s? You could have put it in any different era ever, but the 60s is so great because of the styles and the way
Yeah.
that Shailene got to, wear the pillbox hats and wear the Jackie O flipped hair and all that. So I just want to know why you chose the 60s.
Well, it was really because society changed so dramatically at that point. You know, you had the 50s where it was a nuclear family and the wife stayed home and the husband did this and everybody wore a girdle and, and now you got into the 60s and half of the society was suddenly going, hang on, there's sexual liberation, there's contraceptives, there's music, there's pop music, there's going out and short skirts. And there's still a lot of people going, that's not right. And I love that sense of the tension between two ways of doing things, which I think always exists, but in the 60s seemed to exist much more strongly.
Well, I didn't get a chance to read the book before I saw this movie, but I'm definitely going to read it now. I'm an avid reader. I have books for days. I have a whole library. My mother's like, are you going to get rid of those books? I'm like, no. But
Oh,
I
thank
am
you so much.
I'm happy to add your book to that collection. Thank you so much, Jojo, for your time today. It was a pleasure talking to you. I hope we
Thank
get the
you.
opportunity again sometime soon.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.